Love like yours will surely come my way. Hey, hey, hey. Every day seems a little longer. Every way love's a little stronger. Come what may, do you ever long for true love from me? There you go, baby. Here am I. Will you left me here so I could sit and cry? Well, golly gee, what have you done to me? Well, I guess it doesn't matter anymore. Love you like I do.
What would the Ford anniversary be without three men who've been involved with Ford from, I got 3 generations of Ford. I have all the TASCAs. Mr. TASCA Sr., Jr., and Bob the Third. And it's just, we have so much history here. I hope that we can give you a lot of information. We'll start with Mr. TASCA Sr. out of Providence, Rhode Island. Everybody knows TASCA Ford, especially you guys that are watching the show. You watch on a regular basis anyway, so you know. In fact, we got the original Thunderbolt here too. So we're gonna welcome Mr. TASCA to the show out here, and it's a pleasure to see you.
Very much. Well,
it's really great.
I'm happy to be here. I got a couple of broken ribs, so I'm hurting, but I'm glad to be here.
Tell us a little bit about your history with Ford and the motors, and just give some of the viewers that are not familiar with you.
You want to go back to day one? I was very friendly and close to Henry Ford, and I told him that I was tired of Chevrolet kicking the hell out of us, and I wanted to build a car. He said, "Build it." So I built the Mustang, and that was the beginning of the story. And the rest of the story is we killed GM. We just beat them, and the only reason we beat them is we worked harder, and we had a lot of fun. And obviously, I see my cars all over the world, so I know that they were successful, and that was fun. We had a hell of a winning record, and I think we kind of put General Motors back at the end of the class.
Yeah, you set us, and I say us because I'm a Chevy guy, but you set us back on our heels, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, that was my ambition. As I said to Henry, Chevrolet can beat us any time at all because we don't have any cars. He said, "Well, build them." I said, "Well, I can build them. All you got to do is give me the word and I'll build them." He gave me the word, and because I built the engines, I built the cars. And we were successful because we worked hard.
That you did.
Yeah.
You won on Sunday and sold on Monday.
Well, that's it. You win on Sunday and you sell on Monday. And we've sold over 500,000 cars and trucks as a Ford dealer, and a hell of a lot of them because of racing.
Now, they just inducted you into the Hall of Fame last night. That was a nice ceremony, and it was great to see you up there. The cameras were flashing all over the place. It's great to see three generations of TASCAs here. I mean, it's I don't know when it's going to happen again, but it's certainly great to have you here. And I guess you must have felt real good about it last night.
Oh, I felt real good about it, yes, and I got the fourth generation coming along too. Bob TASCA III is racing, and his son will be 7 years old in August, and it won't be too much longer before he starts racing.
That's good.
Yeah, they got it in their blood.
Now listen, I want to just set the record straight here.
Okay,
That's
go
Bob
ahead.
Sr., I'm Bob Jr., and that's Dean Gregson.
Oh, okay.
Now, Dean Gregson probably knows more about the history of our racing than probably almost as much as my father does, because he saved all the records and the pictures, and he actually was the high-performance sales manager for TASCA Ford for so many years, and I can tell you, no one living today has sold more high-performance Fords than Dean Gregson. And he taught me so much about the business along with my dad. And I used to love working with Dean at the dealership because I would help him sell cars. And the thing that I enjoyed the most, he'd give me the key to a new car, and I'd go out in the back of the lot and drive it up. I'd wash it and show it to the customer. And I got a big kick out of driving. So that was my incentive to help him sell cars. I get to drive them. But my son Bob III is the professional race car driver. He's in Denver right now racing, and he's had a heck of a year, and I want to wish him good luck this weekend. Next weekend is Seattle, and the weekend after that is Sonoma. So,
Is that the final race?
well, no, the final race is in Pomona, but this is the Western Swing, so it's very important. And then if you're in the top 10, you can run for the championship after Indy. But when I look at some of these race cars, it brings back so many fond memories for myself, and I have two brothers that were actively involved with the racing. And my brother Carl right now has got a new Cobra Jet, one of those replica Cobra Jets over there, and he's driving it himself. In fact, he went a few weeks ago 991, about 140 miles an hour. So it's in our blood, and from generation to generation, it taught us the value of hard work and success. We won most of the races, but we didn't win all of them. And my father said we did a good job beating GM. We did, but they did a hell of a good job beating us for a lot of years.
A lot of years.
When I look at Dave Strickler's cars down there, I can remember every time we had a match race with Dave Strickler, and it took place most of the time in Connecticut Dragway. He
Sure.
beat us in '62, beat us in '63, beat the hell out of us in '64 with that car. That car right there got its doors blown off by the Chevrolet until my dad got involved with John Healy and made some modifications. And after the modifications and they went to a bigger tire, I don't think that car ever lost a drag race. And so we saw the good times, but before we saw the good times, we saw some of the rough times. And along with GM, there were a couple of fast Chryslers that you can throw in the mix. So it was a lot of fun, and history repeats itself. And you know, we're still selling Ford products, and we're proud of it, and we're proud of the Ford Motor Company. But Dean, if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have all the albums. And I have them, and I cherish them. I always said, God forbid if my house was ever on fire, after I got my family out, I'd go for the albums. But many thanks. I can tell you a lot of nice stories about this gentleman, but I want to pass the mic over to Dean. Dean, they almost had you as Bob Jr.
The third, I thought.
Well, I don't know. No, you should have been junior. I should have been the third because I'm a little younger.
I see.
But I just want you to know, even though he got you mixed up, you're not in the will, Dean.
Oh, okay, thank you. Well, I went to work for Mr. TASCA. I was 18 years old and became part of his family, and traveled with his wife and the two boys. When Mr. TASCA was on the West Coast, we would travel on the East Coast to meet him when they came back at Daytona when they won the AFX, the Superstock Nationals out there. At the long and short of it, Mr. TASCA always said, if you're going to race something, you're going to sell it. So the long and short of it, Billy Lawton was my best friend for 37 years, and his family is still part of our life. Even today, as the award ceremony yesterday here. We had an opportunity not only drag race with Billy and run the high performance department, we had an opportunity to run the SCCA circuit with the Shelby Mustang and the Ford Lotus Cortina.
Which he drove, by the way.
Oh, okay, I drove
And
it.
he's still a good driver. You still don't want to mess with Dean. You can do okay on a straight line, but when it gets to the corners, he's pretty good at it.
Anyway, we ended up racing the Bosch 302, and that was a big asset for me personally, is the fact that I raced the Trans Am series, and we sold a lot of high performance Fords because of the drag racing experience we had and the name that was created by TASCA Ford in the 60s. But the road racing, again, brought a lot of people in. And when you went to demonstrate a Bosch 302, we had a particular route, as every good salesperson should have, to give the customer the full value of the vehicle that you were demonstrating. So we had some straightaways, we had some very nice corners and S-turns. And occasionally I had to kick the rear end out, a little power slide, come back, and I'd pull around the corner another half-mile down the road and ask the customer if they wanted to drive the vehicle. They said, no, let's just buy the car and get the hell out of here. But we had a lot of fun with that. So then we had the Bosch 351s, and we had the Bosch 429s and the Mach 1s. And thank God to Mr. Tasker, I made a fortune in May as a salesperson in 1968, because he created the Cobra Jet as we know it. And that particular time, I never really left my office. I sold 48 cars that month. We delivered them all over the world, thanks to Edsel Ford, Antwerp, Belgium. We delivered them to Alaska. We delivered them to California, Florida, anywhere you can think about. And even the NFL, Jimmy Brown, the offensive tackle there for the Philadelphia Eagles, he came in and he said, look, I got a race with another gentleman, one of the big basketball players of the century, and he said, I don't want to lose. And so Mr. Healy, Mr. Gilbert, they fixed his car up, and when he came back to pick up his Shelby KR8, he said, well, how did it go? I said, well, come on, let's go for a ride. So we went out to 195, and we showed him. There was a drag race with Will Chamberlain. He was having a drag race for money, whatever. So I got it out there, ran it through the gears, and I remember he put his hand on my leg, and he says, I've seen enough, little brother. I'm convinced. And so he went very, very happily home back to Philadelphia. He did win the race from what he told me. So, but all in all, growing up with Mr. Tasker and his family and 777 Taunton Avenue was an experience that I guess we could put it this way. I did every day what every young man dreamt about. And even to having Mario Andretti to come in for our Mustang birthday parties, picking him up with the GT40s out on the tarmacs of the TF Green Airport at the time. The city of Providence closed down the center of the city, and we ran a GT40 through the city and all the open exhausts on the buildings. It just was one experience after another. And as Bob Jr. said, they're still there in business today, and the whole family's in there. I mean, the whole family's in there. His sons, Carl's sons, David's sons. I was there yesterday, 7:30 in the morning. The daughters, absolutely, absolutely.
All involved.
And I said to David's son, I said, what time did you get here? Oh, he said, Mr. Gregson, I was here at 6 o'clock. I said, well, what time are you going to go home? He said, I hope to get out of here by 9. So, I mean, the effort's still there. The Taskers are always giving the best effort in the world. So, thank you very much.
I want to ask Junior about today's racing now. They're going so fast, and your kid is out there running so fast. What's your thoughts and what's your feelings? I mean, are you concerned at all? I mean, every time he makes a pass.
I'm always very, very concerned, and I like being there. I don't like to be on the other end of the telephone. It's a very, very serious game. We have a very good car, an excellent team. Bob is getting more and more experience as a driver. He's a very, very talented driver, but obviously he needs more experience, and he's getting it. And this year he's doing a lot better than he did last year, but I also know the consequences of the sport. You try to make it as safe as you possibly can, and they've made some significant improvements at the racetrack, especially in the stopping areas, since last year's tragedy in Englishtown. And it's definitely a safer sport today than it was, but anytime you can go 300 miles an hour in just over 4 seconds, it's a serious game.
Well, it's big business now. It's not like when we're talking about the Thunderbolt and running, back in the day. You guys used to come to to my home track, Dover Drag Strip in New York State, and I have film footage of you guys running and match racing, and I have film footage of the car at Connecticut Dragway, of course. You know,
What was your home track?
Dover Drag
Oh,
Strip.
Dover. Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
we've
in
match raced a
Wingdale.
lot there.
Oh,
I'd love
sure,
to see some of those videos someday.
Well, I have some stuff. Maybe I can take it apart and put it together, and
Love to
and
see
give
that.
you, a DVD. But back in the old day, that was drag racing. Today, it's big business, and I'm going to ask you very quickly, what's it cost to run a car like your son is running for an entire season at an NHRA schedule?
Well, it's, I don't know the exact cost. The only time you really know the exact cost is at the end of the year, because it's all figuring out how many pots do you break. You can have a good weekend, and you can have a very expensive weekend, but it's a multi-million-dollar event every year.
Right. Now, is that a conservative figure?
Well, depending on how you do with pieces, but it's a multi-million-dollar event. I mean, to do it right, to have the kind of
He gets
setup
in
that
the
we
points,
have.
If he races and gets higher up in the points, then the more value that they receive in compensation. So
It's
It's just the reason I asked you, I bring this up, is because we still all follow, all of us, guys that are a little bit older, and remember the real drag racing days. It was anybody could get in the game. Today, you can't get in the game.
No, you can't get in the
can't
game.
compete.
Not if you want to run for the championship. If you want to show up at a few events, you can do it. But if you're serious and you've got sponsors that want you to run for the championship, then you've got, I think it's about 24 races, and you need to have the equipment, the team, and the right driver. And most of it is the car. I mean, you can have the best driver in the world. If he doesn't have good equipment, he'll never win. But the driver still has to do his job. But last night in Denver, they ran. Bob made one run the first round. He was number 4 qualifier, dropped the cylinder. Second run, they ran after midnight because it was a heavy rainstorm, and he ended up about number 10 qualifier. So he's right in the middle of the pack right now. But all bets are off on Sunday. Sunday, anybody can line up against anybody,
right.
and anybody can beat anybody.
That's
But
for
you
sure.
don't really want to plan to take on the number 1 qualifier on Sunday morning. But sometimes a number 1 qualifier is somebody real good, so it's whatever. You just race the race, and you'll hope you make it to the next round.
With this economy, it seems like Ford didn't ask for any bailout money. Ford's doing well. You guys are still selling, better than average.
Well, real proud of what Ford's done. They have not asked for any bailout money, and they're trying to do it the old-fashioned way by just financing themselves. And they've looked to the dealers for help. They've looked to their bondholders for help. And right now, they're trying to do everything possible not to ask for taxpayers' money. And hopefully they can get through this thing. Obviously, it's a difficult situation right now because we need to have the market come back for any of them to survive right
That's
now,
for
and
sure.
it's not coming back as quickly as we'd like to see it. But it will come back.
Drag racing is helping Ford in a long way, Bob. I mean, you take Gainesville, there thousands and thousands of people are there that registered their names and email addresses and the products they were buying as far as aftermarket parts. We had the Cobra Jet there and a whole bunch of other things. And it's amazing what the attention that the enthusiasts are going to the Ford displays. It's incredible.
See,
They're still paying the $50 a ticket, the spectators,
Yeah,
or
but-
$60 a ticket.
this racing to my son and my family is not just about racing, it's a business. We're trying to help Ford
sure.
sell cars, and I'm glad Dean brought it up. If you go into one of our races, we've got a beautiful display in the manufacturer's row where we display Ford custom accessories, motorcraft, and quick lane, and there's a lot of interactive stuff for the fans to do. And we're collecting, as Dean said, thousands of names, and we get them on a list, and Ford makes discounts available to them, and also some special incentives on cars and stuff. So we're turning this into
A new
business.
Mustang this year that's coming out and late in the fall.
There's been a lot of positive publicity with the race cars, so we're excited about it.
Maybe you can help me because I tried to get access to Englishtown because, being from New York, I mean, I want to go out to the Nationals. They won't let me out there. They won't let me videotape. I mean, my show is a public access. It's a non-profit, non-commercial show. and they won't let me gain access because they say ESPN owns all the rights and everything, you know. So I have a difficult time. I have a major problem with that because I have to miss that event and some of the others that I'd like to travel to because they won't. They think that I don't know, in some way going to hurt ESPN, you know. And so I don't know what to do there, but and I don't know, you know, who to speak to. But I can't get a name, and I can't get any access.
I mean, you can't.
So-
They can't stop you from videoing what you want to video.
No, but you know, I like to do what I'm doing now. I like
Yeah.
to go to the track. I want to go into the pits. I want to speak to the owners and, you know, do some interviews. And it's nothing that I'm going to sell.
No.
You know, and
I know.
they told me flat out. They said, "Oh, ESPN owns all the rights. You can't videotape. You can't do interviews. You can't even bring your equipment in." So I
that's
was
a-
kind of disappointed that last year. As a matter of fact, that was when Scott had the accident. And Connie, his father, I mean, you know, he used to come out to New York and come up to Dennis's down at B&L Automotive in the Bronx, you know, when he ran a dragster at Dover. And, you know, so I kind of feel that we're missing out. I was telling Dean before about you guys used to come down to White Plains, down to Larson Ford.
Yeah.
Billy Cope's a friend of mine, and he
Billy
had
Cope's
the-
a friend of mine too. I
Yeah.
saw him in Arizona last year.
Did you? Yeah, because
Yeah.
that's where he's living
Well, this
now.
year actually I saw him.
That's where he's living now, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was
Back
having a
and
house
forth.
built out there, and
Got
that's
a
where he's
beautiful
at.
home. Billy's a great guy.
I saw Billy a couple of years ago, and I haven't seen him since, but I have his cell phone. And he's, you know, he says, when you do anything, you know, like anything, like a reunion with Dover or anything like that, he says, give me a call. He says, I'll be out.
Okay.
But those are the great days.
Yeah, they were.
I mean, those were the fun days. Listen, I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you for having us
Your
on the
son,
show.
You know, it's my pleasure, Dean.
Thank you, sir. My pleasure.
Thank you very
Junior,
much.
thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
Mr. Tasca, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank
Really
you.
appreciate it. Nice seeing you here. Be
Happy
well.
to be here.
Get better.
Support our vendors that are located around.
In November, when Bruce Larson has his little get-together out in Dauphine in Pennsylvania, every time I've been out there, I see this 1962 Ford that has his name on it, and he drove it. Well, I always thought he was the owner, but come to find out, it's Earl Hoffman who actually owns the car. So we got to talking. I said, you know what? You got a lot of great stories and stuff. We gotta get you on camera for a few minutes. So we got Earl right now, and he just gave me some nice kibasi.
Yes.
All right, some
yes.
homemade kielbasa.
Good Polish kielbasa. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know, ironically, at this show today, this morning, I met one of the fellows that owned this car prior to me when this car was
Did
on
you?
when it was on the street. Yes, actually, he actually drove it and wrecked it.
that a
And
fact?
yes, and then it passed on to another fellow and another fellow, and it ended up in New York, and then eventually came back here, which is kind of cute, I think.
Yeah, to find somebody that was a previous owner's, you know, I mean, the odds
Yes,
are, you know,
and
slim to none.
ironically, when I was doing the homework on this car, he was someone that I had spoken to on
Oh,
the
did you?
telephone.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
but I never met him, and it was unique.
Oh, he came up and introduced himself?
Yes,
That's
yes,
terrific.
I thought that was
That's terrific.
terrific.
You know, this show like this, it brings out the best in everything. you
I
know?
hope so.
The
I'd
best
like
in
to
the
think
people
so.
and the cars and everything. It's just
I would like to
it's
think
just a
so.
great event. You
Yes,
know, really
it is. It truly, and especially this one. If you're a Ford fan, they have their Fords here today.
Boy, you know, I got a chance to interview the Tascas, both of the Tascas.
Wonderful, a lot of history.
Yeah.
Tremendous amount of history, and they have some of their beautiful cars here. Gorgeous.
Getting back to the 62,
Yes.
a little bit about the history.
It was Ford's first foray into drag racing with a semi-lightweight car, because a lot of the components of it are fiberglass, and originally came from the factory. Was a 406 with 3 carburetors, and then later on they were given permission to use 2 4s, which is on
Right.
there now. They just ran it. Larson and Hoffman Jr. ran the car, and as you can see in Bruce's story, it's the car he likes to forget, or he hates so much to forget. But they had a lot of problems with it, a lot of breakage and whatnot. Then he went to Chevy.
Well, you know, they years back, Ford wasn't noted for that. It was
No.
like FORD was fix or repair daily.
That is correct. But from 62 then to 63, they made a lot of improvements, and things got
Oh, sure.
much better. They sorted out a lot of their problems during the winter. Went from 406 to 427, and a lighter car, and things worked out much better for
Well,
them.
they did.
They became very well. And then the Thunderbolt really brought them in the market.
That was the one that put them on the map.
That's correct. That's correct. And then they fooled with fiberglass, aluminum, a lot of aluminum pieces. There were aluminum-bodied cars, and it all worked out for them.
Yeah, and they were fortunate because General Motors had to drop out of drag racing, automobile racing.
Well, they
in
did.
general.
Well, do you really think they did?
Oh, I know for a fact
I
they
don't
did.
think they
Oh,
did.
yeah.
I think there was a lot of under-the-table business.
They did it under the table.
Yes.
But they were forced
Yes.
to
Yes, they
drop
were.
out,
Yes,
of,
they
out
were.
of racing.
Yes, they were.
As far as the public was concerned.
That's
You know,
unfortunate.
the big name guys like Jenkins and Dickie Harrell and
Yes.
those guys got all Chevrolet parts. You know?
Yes.
But no, the average person couldn't buy it.
No, you could not.
Right,
You could
but
not.
yet you
Which,
could-
which really it wasn't fair. It wasn't fair to anybody, but that's the way it went.
Well, General Motors was winning so much, and TASCA admitted that. You know, they were killing them.
Yep.
And they were winning so much that the government got intervened, and it had to do with taxes actually. But in any event, that's when they had to drop out. And Ford came out with that Thunderbolt. They produced 100 cars, and they ran super stock, and they just started winning. And then Chrysler came out with that Hemi,
Yep.
and then forget about everybody. Goodbye.
That's a whole new page. Yes,
That's right.
you're correct.
That's
you're
right.
correct.
Well, it's got to be a lot of fun owning this car. Now,
It
I
is.
also understand
It
that
is.
you put this in a museum too.
Yes, it's at the Eastern Museum of Motor Racing, Latimer Valley. It's right out south of Dillsburg, Pennsylvania. We have a little bit of everything in there. The museum was built originally as a dirt car museum. However, it's graduated into a little bit of everything. We have drag racing. Obviously, they have their Hall of Honor stored
For the
there.
stock cars and all.
For
Midgets?
NHRA.
Oh, you're talking about
for
NHRA,
here, yes,
for
it's
quarter mile, yeah.
it's there at the museum.
Yeah.
But we have a little bit of everything: midgets, old cars, new cars, a lot of dirt cars, NASCAR, a little bit of everything. It's very, very nice.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's terrific. That's
Very
open to
nice.
the public.
yes, it is. It's open on the weekends. It's one of Pennsylvania's best kept secrets. Unfortunately, we don't get enough people that go there. It's free. All you have to do is walk in the door.
Well, you know what? When I go back to edit, we'll make sure we put up the graphics, its whereabouts and the contacts, and how people can get a hold of you or
Terrific,
somebody.
terrific,
You know, so
terrific.
that
That
we
would
can
be
promote
great.
it a little bit. Oh,
That would
sure.
be
Give
great.
you all the exposure
They
you
need all the help they can get because
Right.
it's a wonderful thing. We just had our summer picnic. It's a whole week. We have a little bit of track time. There were all kinds of race cars there, dirt cars, stock cars, a little bit of everything, and it's sort of a country fair air.
Right.
And a very nice affair, family deal.
And Pennsylvania's a beautiful country. It's a
Yes.
beautiful state. It's like country, you know. I
Yes.
mean, it's just beautiful.
I'm glad you like it.
I like coming out here. I used to race out here. I ran New Media,
Good.
and I ran York, and I ran Maple Grove.
Great.
You know, so I've always loved coming out here. It's a long ride.
Yes.
But you know what?
It's
It's well
worth it
worth the
at the
ride.
end.
you
It's
know?
worth
At
it
the
at
end of
the
the day,
end. Yes.
that's true.
Yes. Terrific.
You know what? We looking forward to seeing you in November at Bruce's.
Good.
You
I
know,
will be
and,
there.
And I hope you
And
bring
remember what I told you. You remind me. I want to show you my
Yes,
newest
we're going to go
toy.
downstairs.
Okay,
Right,
okay.
right. Absolutely. And you're going to bring some homemade
Kielbasa. Yes, I
Right.
will. Yes, I will. Okay, Dennis.
Thanks a
Thank you
bunch.
very
All right.
much. Have a great day.